Hey guys, so I'm on pixlr.com. Go to your browser and type in pixlr.com, and this is the home page you will be brought to. There's different platforms of pixlr. There's the pixlr X and the pixlr E. Both are free to use. Now you can pay for a plan and you can create a login if you'd like, but neither of those are necessary. Just click on pixlr E and you will be brought to this home page. Now, yesterday you were to find 5 images for our Surrealist project. We are not going to use those images just yet. This project right here is going to be for practice to learn the tools before we use those 5 images. So when you get to this page, go ahead and click Create New. These are some pre-sized documents that they have provided for you. We're going to use this Instagram square size. I'm going to give my document a title, and I'm going to put demo and my last name as the title, and I'm going to hit create. It's going to pull up this box. This gray and black checked shows that this space is empty, meaning there is no background. Right now it would be transparent if we were to save it. Okay, so if you look to the left, you will see all the different tools that they have available. If you would like, feel free to play around with these to familiarize yourself with them. I'm going to be going into detail about the specific tools that we're going to be using. At the top, this bar here shows different settings of the tool, different things you can do with the tools there. At the top, you have your file, edit, image, layer, all these things. Here's an effect library. We have adjustments and all those things. I'll go over that in detail later. And then over here to the right, you'll notice this column that says layers. This is going to be a very important layer. Right now, we just have this blank layer. And then you have history. History is where if you make a mistake, you can go back to what you did previously to get rid of the mistake. All right, so that's a little overview about pixlr. Okay, so now let's get started. I want you to go to File in the top left-hand corner, and you're going to go to Stock Search. I want you to find a very simple image. I am going to just search for a donut because that sounds really yummy right now. And I'm going to look for a donut with a very simple background, but a donut that I like the look of. Alright, so I really like this chocolate sprinkle donut right here. So I'm going to click on the picture, and I'm going to do Add Current. Alright, so as you can see, it opened the picture. There's this box around with these blue tiny squares in the corners that I can use to size my picture. Now I'm going to try to get rid of as much of that plant as possible so that I can get rid of the background easier. If you'll notice in the layers column, I now have this donut photo as a layer, and it's got this really odd name. So what I'm going to do is click these 3 dots beside the square, and I'm just going to change the name of the layer to donut. So that way I know that that is my donut layer. Make sure you hit enter on your keyboard after you change the name so it will save the name change. And if you can see down here in history, everything that I've done has been recorded. So if I decided I wanted to get rid of that name change, I could just click back on arrange, which is the step before it, and as you can see, it disappeared. But I want to keep it. All right, now one very important tool we will be using for our Surreal project is this cutout mask tool that has a pair of scissors. So click on that tool. What we're going to use this for is to get rid of this white background that's around this donut. Okay, so there's different ways to do that: shapes, magic cutout, draw cutout, or lasso. Now, the best tool that I have found is the magic cutout tool, and it works really well. tolerance decides like the amount of pixels that it will pick up. So I am trying to get rid of the white. I usually start with whatever it has suggested and then adjust as I need. The feather will make the edge kind of blurry, but I really want to get rid of all the white and I want a really distinct edge, so I don't want it blurry. So I'm going to leave that at 0. So what I'm going to do is just click in the white, and as you can see, it got rid of all of the white around except for this area that was a shadow or a darker area, and it didn't get rid of these leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump my tolerance up, and I'm going to click again to see if I can't get rid of more of that. Right, so now looking at this, it took away some of my sprinkles, and I see a sprinkle going here. It took away a bit of the donut in places, and it left these little dots in this leaf. So what I'm going to do now is use this brush tool, and I want to remove, because I'm going to try to get rid of these dots and these leaves, and I would like to turn the softness down because I want a sharp edge. I'm just going to turn the brush size up a little bit since this is a big area. And now I'm just going to brush and get rid of those things that I no longer want in my picture. Okay, cool. I got rid of them. All right, now the great thing about it is, you see how it took away my sprinkles? Well, I did not want that to happen, but there is an easy way to undo that. This little box here with the 2 filled boxes says add to cutout. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to lower my brush size so that I have a little bit smaller brush. And all I'm going to do is brush in the areas that disappeared that I didn't really want to get rid of. So those highlighted areas that was on the edge of the donut, I want to get back these sprinkles that disappeared. I want back. So I'm just going to brush over each area. I'm looking really closely to make sure that I get everything that I want back. You can even zoom in on your picture to make sure that you get everything back and you can see everything. Uh-oh, I need to go back to my brush tool. Keep in mind, if you click to a different tool, you need to make sure that you reset your tools in this top bar because they will adjust to the automatic settings when you leave and come back. Alright, so I'm looking really closely, making sure I got everything back that I want. And clean up this edge here. Okay, let me move this down so I can make sure. Alright, and that looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but that's okay for my first time doing this here donut. Alright, now I'm going to zoom out. And this is what I'm left with. So I'm going to kind of arrange my donut. If I pull my picture over, as you can see, this part of the picture did not get cut off because it was out of the frame, but that's okay. I'm just going to leave it like that. Alright, now I want you to go pick a second image. I'm going to go to File again, click on Stock Search, and then I'm going to search for another image. This time I'm going to do something else. So I think I'm going to search for a plant. Again, I'm looking for a really simple background. The simpler the better. So these plain white backgrounds would be super great. I'm going to go ahead and use one of those just to show you how easy it is to get rid of a white background. So let me go with, I think, this one. I'm going to add it to the current after I choose my picture. And it's going to open it. It's going to be on top of your photo that you just had. So let me kind of move this and size it down because I want to see the whole image. I want to get rid of all of the background this time. So first thing I'm going to do is come over here and change the name so that I know which layer this is. I'm going to get rid of that. Now I'm going to go back to the scissors. I'm going to choose my magic cutout tool again. I'm going to go ahead and leave the tolerance in the feather like it is, and I'm going to see how this works. So if I just click in the white area, as you can see, let me kind of move it away from the donut, it got rid of all of the white except for these little areas that were in between the leaves. So all I have to do is zoom in, go back to my magic cutout tool, and then just click in those little triangular areas and get rid of those white spaces. So as you can tell, it's a lot easier to clip the background out of a picture that has just a solid background, one solid color without shading. Right, so now I'm just going to adjust the size of this photo with the blue squares. Make sure you're on this arrow tool when you want to adjust or move an image. If you would like to rotate, you can hover your mouse above this blue circle and click or push down, and you can rotate your image whichever direction you would like. I think I'm going to do that. Now I want my donut to be above my leaves, so I'm going to push the donut layer on top of the leaves, so then my donut comes in front of the plant instead of being behind the plant. Okay, now I want to duplicate this layer, but I don't want to have to go through all the work that I just did. So I'm going to click the plant layer, click the three little dots beside, and I'm going to hover over these options down here. And you see this one says duplicate layer. So I'm going to click on duplicate. It's going to copy that layer. And I want this plant to be over here in this corner. I'm going to go ahead and flip it so it's a mirror image. As you can see, whoops, I grabbed my donut layer. Well, as you can see, it's exactly the same, it's just mirrored. And then I'm going to flip it vertically. You could also rotate it like I showed you with the circle, but for right now I'm just going to flip it. Just use that tool because it's a little bit quicker. Now, do you see how this box with the donut is turning orange every time I try to move my plant? That's going to be a funky thing you're going to have to kind of play around with and get around. Okay, now I like this arrangement. My donut's in the center. It's on the very top of the leaves, and I really like this layout, this composition. Right now my background is still empty or see-through. I want to fill it in. So I'm going to go back to the one that says layer 0, and I'm going to fill it in. Over here on the side you'll find a paint bucket with a little drop of paint. That is the tool we're going to be using to fill in this area. Okay. Then at the bottom you can see there's these two circles. I want you to click on the top one, and then you're going to choose a color that you want your background to be. You can sample a color by hovering over an area and clicking, and that color will come to the side. You can adjust it and create tints and shades, play with the tones, and find a color that you really like. I like this blue here. So I'm going to click OK, and then I'm just going to click in the empty area, and as you can see, it filled the area in. Alright, so now looking at this, I don't know that I'm happiest with this blue. I might change it up and find a different color and see what that looks like, and just play around with the different colors that I like. Okay, anyway, when you're happy with it, go to File, Save. Make sure your file name is your last name with the demo. You're going to use JPEG, high quality, move it up to 100%, and then click download. Now you will, once you download this picture, please turn it in to Google Classroom so I can see your practice product. So I hope you have a fun playing around with this program. Feel free to explore the different tools and experiment. I look forward to seeing what you create.